So we're in our ninth season, and we've been talking about body wisdom, bringing all our body parts under the realm of wisdom. Today we're going to talk about guarding our hearts. Proverbs 4:23, you're probably familiar with it if you grew up in church. It says, guard your heart above all else, because that's where life comes from. But what does that mean? Well, it turns out in the book of Proverbs that there's a lot of guards for our heart, and we're going to go over 6 of them. The first is to guard your heart against foolishness by directing it to understanding. That's what Proverbs 2:2 says. It says direct your heart to understanding. And in order to understand the way things really work, what's of value, what doesn't have value, what's right, what's wrong, in order for that to really lead us, we have to be guarded in it. We have to gain the kind of understanding that wisdom would have us gain from the heart so that we can walk the right paths. Second is to guard against empty acts by keeping commands from the heart. That's Proverbs 3:1. Obedience has to come from the heart. A lot of people don't have, their heart's not in it. Ultimately, what happens is they have these empty kind of external obedience for a while, but it never lasts. And wisdom understands that this kind of stuff has to come from the heart. Well, as a result of that, we have to trust God. And that's a third thing that we have to do to guard our hearts, is trust God. And this is the guard against pride. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him. He'll make your path straight. So we don't want to be the kind of proud people that say, hey, I got it together. I know what I'm doing. Instead, we lean completely on God and his ways, trusting that he knows what he's talking about and he knows the way to do it. The fourth thing is to guard against sexual unfaithfulness. And Proverbs 7:25 says, don't let your heart turn to adultery. And there's a lot in the first few chapters of Proverbs about remaining sexually pure, remaining in a relationship with your spouse and nobody else, because wisdom knows the foolishness of going outside marriage to find satisfaction. And so it tells us to guard our hearts against anything that's going to come against that. The fifth one is to guard against envy. Proverbs 23:17 says, don't let your heart envy sinners. Don't look around at what other people are doing to get what they want, when they want, how they want, in illegitimate ways and say, yeah, I want to be like that. The sixth one is the guard against a hardened heart. Proverbs 28:14 says, the hard heart falls into trouble. In other words, you are headed for trouble if any way you become insensitive to God and his ways. The contrast in that verse is the person who has reverence for God, and his life is better off because he respects God in such a way that he wants to obey and do it God's way, not his own way. And when we harden our hearts, we go, well, we just don't care. We want to do it our own way. And we have to guard against that. So these 6 things together form a foundation for us to guard our hearts in every situation, in every circumstance, to be these wise people walking on the path that wisdom has for us.